greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. So a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'm a raincoat with the blessing.
Do. What's going on, meatheads? Look at these freaking gas prices. $4.44 for 91. And it's still cheaper to ride a motorcycle than drive a truck. So, give it that at least. Doodle-a-doodle-a-doodle-a-doo. Like I said, what's going on, everybody? Meathead Moto back with you for another video to pump up to your day with some motorcycle content. We're just fucking around in Sioux Falls right now. I just got off of work. I filled up my bike with gas, aired down my tires a little bit because I pumped them up over winter, but now we're ready to go. I've almost put on 500 miles already this year in 2022. And like, we haven't even gotten to real riding season. Like, this is the first 60 plus degree day. I want to say, I could be wrong. There might have been one other day where we reached, yeah, there was one other day that we reached like 60-ish degrees. Today is a whopping 60 degrees even right now. I was going to say, I hope the weatherman didn't prove me wrong in saying that it was going to be 60, but it's not. It's a little windy today. The wind is actually out at my back right now, but could be worse. I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing. I kind of want to go and just, I'm not sure if I want to ride around Sioux Falls or what I want to do. I think we're just going to start heading northwards and try and avoid some of this traffic. My goodness gracious. It's almost, well, I guess it is almost 4. But on the topic of these gas prices, I know we're all pretty much sick of hearing about it because, you know, there's obviously a lot of people that are just complaining for the sake of complaining, and then there's people that actually have some real woes with the whole gas price hike that we've experienced. But, you know, with that, why I wanted to bring it up is not to bitch and gripe about it, but I want to talk about something that always happens when gas prices really start rising. A lot of people do consider alternative modes of transportation, and one of those alternative modes of transportation are motorcycles and scooters. And with that, you know, you get a flock of new people that have come into the motorcycle community. Some don't stick around, some stay around, some really make it their personality. You know, all the things that happen with riding a motorcycle. There's obviously a lot of positives and negatives of riding a motorcycle, but I wanted to make a short-ish list of things that I want to highlight for you guys that are considering a motorcycle for an alternative mode of transportation. Obviously, economically speaking, motorcycles are a great mode of transportation to save on gas. They use less gas. They're more efficient, honestly, if you're a solo traveler. So if you're going into work and you drive, say, like a Tucson, a Hyundai Tucson, like there's 5 seats in there and there's only one person occupying it. That's not very efficient. That's not an efficient use of space, efficient use of gas. You know, those vehicles are meant to get decent gas mileage hauling a lot of people, you know, a full vehicle of people. And well, that's simply just not how a lot of people drive and a lot of us ride. Whereas a motorcycle, yeah, there's only 2 spots generally on a motorcycle. Sometimes people remove that second spot, so there's only 1. But under that guise and under that metric, let's say motorcycles are definitely more efficient at moving a single person or 2 people to a spot of any mode of transportation out there. You know, my bike is not the most fuel efficient bike on the planet, and it still gets 40 miles to the gallon, even with me dogging on it. You know, at times when I'm riding it liberally, I'm up in that like 45, 50 miles per gallon range. But then of course I do stuff like that, and automatically I just use like $5 right there, you know. Yeah, it's not really $5 worth, but you understand what I mean. But yes, as far as moving a single person to and from A to B, a motorcycle or scooter are far more efficient modes of transportation than a 4-seat or 5-seat, 6-seat car. Especially since a lot of them, even the best cars, you know, your Priuses get maybe what's close to what this gets. So, and I mean, obviously, you look a little bit more badass on a road glide or on a Dyna, on a Softail, on any motorcycle than you do in a Prius. That's not even an argument. You can't argue about that. But the things that you need to really watch out for your first few miles on a motorcycle is the awareness of other drivers is even worse on two wheels. And what I mean by that is, if you think that in your car or in your truck you are not seen in traffic, multiply it by at least 10. And that's how people see motorcycles. We're next to invisible at times. And when you're next to invisible, what the biggest problem is that somebody is going to run a light and cream you from the side. Somebody's going to be at an intersection and they're turning left and they don't see you coming and they turn into your lane of traffic, or they turn against your lane of traffic. You know, the possibilities of being hurt on a motorcycle are far greater. And the odds of being hurt or killed on a motorcycle are also much, much greater. So obviously, with that in mind, it might scare you out of getting a motorcycle over any other mode of transportation. But what I will say is that if you ride on a scooter, let's say, which is an even smaller two-wheeled machine, you are really gonna have a hard time doing anything that involves highway speeds, and you're even on a big bike like this, I guess is what I'm trying to get to, is that even though I'm sometimes unseen on two wheels, I'm far more likely to be seen on a bigger bike like this than on a scooter, let's say. Plus, scooters are also on the lowest totem pole of two-wheeled machines. I mean, obviously, if you only live like a block or two from where you work, then maybe you ought to just get something like that, because depending on your state, you also don't need to get a motorcycle license. But the thing that will happen, though, as a positive side of the negative side, is that you actually become a better driver. Because as a motorcyclist, you learn to understand how to interpret car body language and the intentions of a driver without actually looking and making eye contact with them. The car's body language tells a lot more about what they intend to do rather than even the driver themselves. So don't always be the one looking in the eyes of the person at the intersection and like trying to lock in with them and be like, what are you gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna predict what you do. I'm trying to read your mind. You know, when you see what their car is doing, on the other hand, where their wheels are turning, are they drifting in and out of the lane? Are they like, can you see them inside, like cocking their head around, like looking around? Are they looking to change lanes? You know, stuff like that obviously are huge tells of what somebody in a car is going to do. And then that translates over into driving. You start to notice it more as a driver. You learn to not be the first one to rush through an intersection in a car, because on a motorcycle, if you go through, you know, you're dead. Because if somebody runs that light and they hit you on the side, well, guess what? Yeah, there's no other option, no other answer than like you're gonna see God or the devil, depending on how you stand with things. But you know, that's one thing that I've noticed with with the way I drive versus like my wife drives, is she often like gets mad at me, like it says, "Hey Zach, the light's green," like it just turned, and I don't just jump into it. It's because from riding motorcycle, I realized that jumping through that intersection first is not safe for me. It's a good way to get hit. So the skills that you learn as a motorcyclist will make you a better and safer driver. I think that if you're going to learn to ride a motorcycle, get a motorcycle, definitely take an MSF course. They will get you on a bike faster and safer than any other course out there, and it's also not that expensive. You know, if in my opinion, that's what I learned to ride on, or learned to ride from, is the MSF course, and it really boosted my confidence in riding, and it got me to where I am today. And I think the last key thing that I want to highlight quick before we get into like why you shouldn't ride a motorcycle, other than like the you know, the inherent danger of riding a motorcycle, I think the other thing is the key is to not spend a whole lot on the motorcycle itself, especially if you're not expecting to keep at it. You never know. Go cheap on a motorcycle. They're easier to maintain than a car. So they're easier to maintain than a car. They honestly have a lot less moving parts. There's a lot less electronics on base model motorcycles. So getting a cheaper motorcycle, if you're not really sure you're going to keep up with motorcycling, is honestly a good idea. You know, if you never know what the gas prices will do, they could keep going up, they could go back down. And if they go back down, you know, maybe you don't see the need to ride a motorcycle anymore, then at least you're not out a ton of money. Where you should spend money, if that's the route you want to go, is buy a motorcycle to save some money and use less gas. My recommendation is get a good helmet, get gloves, get a jacket, and get good riding boots. Those are your last line of defense in any sort of accident, whether it comes down to tipping your bike over, it comes down to you getting hit, or you accidentally lay your bike down at a stoplight because you didn't see a patch of gravel and you set your foot down, you know, stuff like that. Your last line of defense is those boots, helmet on your head, the gloves on your hand, the jacket on your back. You know, if you want to get jeans, like riding jeans, Kevlar lined ones, you know, go ahead. I don't personally buy them because the thing that happens more often is that you end up in an impact. You know, I could go into it, but my recommendation is the helmet, gloves, jacket, boots. Spend more money on the safety gear rather than the motorcycle itself, because if you buy the $15,000, $20,000 Harley, but you don't put the money into like a helmet, a good helmet that'll protect your head, a jacket, gloves, doesn't matter how good that bike is, it's not going to prevent you from getting hurt in an accident. And a helmet is, again, one of those things that could save your life in a simple accident. And there's always some chance, there's always going to be some accidents where it wouldn't have mattered if you had a helmet or not. But in my opinion, and with a lot of people's opinion, statistics would say it's better to have a helmet than not have one. Now, the last but not least thing why maybe you shouldn't consider riding a motorcycle is these things are highly addictive. They give you so many different chemical releases, honestly. Dopamine, the adrenaline, the serotonin, all of that. Like, this is something that you don't get in a cage, in a car, in a truck, or anything. Being on two wheels and being out in the open world, being able to smell the outside, you feel the heat off of the motor, the sound of your exhaust in your ear. Like, it's definitely an addictive substance that if you're not ready or you're not really sure you want to commit to it, you might end up getting committed to it anyway, because once you've ridden on two wheels and you even go to the normal places that you go to in your car, but you go on two wheels, they just seem better. There's something about the freedom and to me it's just the freedom of being on two wheels is so much more enjoyable than in a car. You know, going to your favorite place to get coffee, or your favorite place to get ice cream, your favorite place to go for like trips and stuff. If you go on a motorcycle or take a motorcycle with you when you go to those places and ride around that area, you'll be surprised at how different and how much more enjoyable it is to do those things while in the seat of a motorcycle, I should say. I think the last tip I would have for you guys about this whole situation with the gas prices rising and whatnot, if you're looking at getting a motorcycle, get something that is appropriate for your skill level, and if you don't know, ask somebody. You know, I'm always available to hit up on Instagram, or if you see this video and comment below what you think. If you have no idea, feel free to ask. This motorcycle community that is on the internet and on social media can be kind of daunting at first. There are some people on here that are not very friendly, but for a large majority of people on here are always open to creating more riders and creating people who stick around in the motorcycle community. So my recommendation for you is if you don't know what you're looking for, or don't know what you need or what you want, ask. I'm willing to help. I know the people in my comment section that are subscribed to this channel are willing to help you out. We want to create more riders on two wheels than people in four wheels. I strongly recommend to you, if you really want to go down this path to saving money on gas, do a lot of research, look around, find bikes that you like on the internet, look up whether they're good beginner bikes or not, look up the stats, look up this, look up that, ask around, ask opinions, watch reviews, you know, whatever you can get. The internet has a lot of information out on it, and you know what, it'll help you out immensely. Like I said, these are highly addictive, guys and girls. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found this helpful. If you are considering getting a motorcycle during these, man, you gotta say it's tough times. Like, there's no two ways about it. But if you are considering it, I hope you found this helpful and that you learned a few things. Maybe you are more comfortable going towards a motorcycle. Maybe it steered you away from it. I'm all for hearing about what you think and what you feel. But until next time, guys, I will see you in another video in the future. Peace out, ride safe, stay vigilant, keep the shiny side up. Peace.